Sarah, the Healthy Home Economist, and I'm going to show you how to make pudding in this video. Pudding, who doesn't love pudding? Especially this time of year in the winter, which is when I'm filming this. It's like the ultimate comfort food. And what a great dessert after dinner. Kids love pudding in their lunch boxes as well, but I hope you're not using this. This stuff from the store is really bad, and this seems to be the only way people know how to make pudding anymore. The way that my grandmother used to make pudding has long since been forgotten. That's what I'm going to show you how to do in this video. It's really not that hard, but let me just kind of read to you what's in this stuff. Let me find the ingredients here. They're always very small, so you can hardly see it. Sugar, modified cornstarch, and let me tell you, it's genetically modified, I'm sure. It's not organic. It's got to be genetically modified because almost all corn that's not organic is genetically modified anymore. A couple of unpronounceables that I don't even know what they are. Disodium phosphate, tetrasodium pyrophosphate, whatever that is, I don't even know. Who cares? I don't want it in my body. We've also got artificial colors, yellow number 5, yellow number 6, and BHA, our wonderful preservative. Do you want to give your kids this? I don't care if you make it with milk. It's still chemicals, potentially genetically modified ingredients, and of course white sugar, which you don't want to use. You want to use a natural sweetener if you're going to make a homemade treat for your kids. So let's just get rid of that, huh? And let me show you how to make pudding the right way. It's very easy. We've got milk here. Get the best quality milk that you can afford. I've got grass-fed raw milk here from a local farm. I know some of you don't have access to raw milk. Get low temperature, pasteurized, non-homogenized milk. If you cannot get raw milk, that would be the second best thing. But get raw grass-fed milk if you can. I realize I'm going to heat it here, but it's going to be a gentle heat. It's not going to be like the violent pasteurization heat. So even though we're going to lose the enzymes by cooking the raw milk, we're not going to denature the proteins, so don't worry about that. We've also got 1/3 cup of flour. You can also use arrowroot powder if you're grain-free. You can also use organic cornstarch if you would like, which you can get at the health food store. I prefer to use freshly ground flour. It gives me the best results, and that's what I'm going to use. 1/2 cup to 3/4 cup of sugar. You can either use coconut sugar or sucanat. Those give the best results. Coconut sugar if you've got some glycemic issues that you're trying to keep your blood sugar in check. Sucanat is evaporated cane sugar. Very nice results if you use that. Use as little sugar as you can get away with. If you're just coming off the garbage that I just tossed over there, the box of pudding, if you're just coming off of white sugar and the standard American diet, then use 3/4 cup because very sweet dessert is what you're used to. If you have been off of sugar and eating just moderate amounts of natural sweeteners for some time, then you can get away with 1/2 cup of sucanat. I've also got 2 beaten eggs here and a tablespoon of butter and some vanilla, which we will use at the end. But what you want to do now is, and I recommend you just go ahead and make the pudding in the bowl that you're going to serve it in. There's no use making it in a pot and then putting it in a bowl that you're going to keep it in the refrigerator. One less pot to clean up. I'm all for that. So just cook it right in the dish that you're going to serve it in. And you're going to go ahead and turn it on. And we're going to start warming up this milk. And it's going to take a few minutes. It takes about 10 to 15 minutes to make a bowl of pudding. So just don't be in a rush. You really can't rush this. You really need to be in the kitchen watching it. You can't go off and do other things. So make sure it's a time when you have 10 or 15 minutes. Perhaps you're cooking dinner and you're right here anyway. That's a great time to make your pudding. So we've got our 1/3 cup of flour, and I've also got sugar. I'm going to pour the sugar in there and stir it up. And we've also got the flour, which I'm going to put in there as well. And I'm just going to let this warm up. I'm going to stir it occasionally, and we're going to pick it up when we're ready to, when it's thickened, gets a little bit bubbly, and it starts to get thick, and that's when we move on to the next step. Okay, it's been about 6 or 8 minutes, right on cue, and the pudding has now thickened. First it got a little bubbly, and as soon as you see some bubbles coming to the top, you know that it's almost ready for the next step. Then once you see those bubbles come to the top, you cook it for 2 additional minutes, which I've done. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our 2 beaten eggs, and we are going to put some of this, and you want to do it slowly. You don't want to just dump the eggs in there, or they're going to cook so fast and you're going to have like scrambled egg in your pudding, and that is not good. So what you want to do is just take a few ladles full of this hot milk with the sugar and the flour in it, and just pour it in and very gently mix it in with the eggs, okay? Maybe 2 ladles, 2 or 3 ladles. You know, this is not an exact science, okay? So just do what works for your stove. I know your stove is going to be different than mine. So just go ahead and mix 2 whole beaten eggs with a couple ladles of the hot thickened mixture. And then you're going to pour all this back in to the pot here and continue cooking. Now you don't want to bring this to a boil, or you're going to have little pieces of egg white throughout your pudding, okay? You want to bring it, keep it right below a boil. You don't want it to get bubbly, but you're going to keep cooking it until it gets even thicker than it was before. And once you see it start to thicken again, you're going to cook for 2 additional minutes, and then we're going to finish it off and come back at that point. Okay, our pudding has thickened even more than it was before. The eggs are thoroughly cooked, and you can see we've got a nice, it's almost like a thick gravy. So the next thing we're going to do is move it off the heat, turn off the heat. We are going to put in 1 tablespoon of butter. Stir that in, that'll melt nicely in the hot pudding. We're also going to add a 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla extract. And that is it. That is all that it takes to make wonderful, all natural, wholesome pudding that your family's going to go wild for. Now you notice this is vanilla pudding, but it's a little beige. Just call it French vanilla because we've used, again, a natural sweetener. We're not using white sugar, which would have made the pudding come out a lot lighter in color. We're using either coconut sugar or sucanat. So that is why it's a little darker in color. Or so just call it French vanilla or something like that. So you're going to stir until this butter is melted, and then you're just going to let it sit for a few minutes until it cools a little bit, and then serve it in bowls for your family, or you can refrigerate it and put it in your kids' lunch boxes or anything like that that will work for them. I hope you've enjoyed this lesson on how to make pudding the old-fashioned way without those nasty boxes from the store. This is Sarah, the Healthy Home Economist, and I'm wishing you all the best in the kitchen.